why do I need to use gestures when I get up in front of an audience? Because after all, you're never going to be in a business presentation. You're trying to sell something. And afterwards, the board of directors comes over to you and says, Sophia, that presentation of yours was wonderful. And we're going to save several $1 million if we go with your company. Unfortunately, after you presented, we saw Ted. And when Ted explained we're going to save so much money and it'd be a good thing, we were so blown away by his gestures, we're going to go with this company. Even though it's going to cost us several $1 million. Probably doesn't happen, right? Same sort of way you never go into a business presentation and have the person announce the business presentation by saying, hello everybody, the sun is out in the sky, it's a beautiful day, but now it's time to get down to work. So I thought, this is ridiculous. What's the big deal about gestures? What's gestures got to do with it? So I didn't use them. Because I thought, it's just a waste of time. But then one day I had a presentation I was going to give, sort of a presentation, just a basic business presentation of money. You know, you're trying to explain it. You had some money, and then you had more money. And so I started out, and I said, okay, start out with $500. We doubled our money. And I thought I wanted to explain that to people. I said, okay. So I said to them, started out with $500. We ended up with $1,000. We doubled our money. And I mentioned that a couple times in the presentation. I thought that was it. And then after the presentation was over, a blonde-haired guy came over and said, Tim, what was that bit about the $500? I said, we doubled our money. He said, oh, Tim, I didn't get that in the presentation. I thought, why didn't you get that in the presentation? I said it. I was clear about it. What's the issue? So I thought, okay, next time I'm going to say it even more clearly. I'm going to say it a couple times so people will get it. I said, all right. And I gave the presentation again. I said, we started out with $500. And we went to $1,000. We doubled our money. We had twice as much money. We had more money than we had before. We had a lot more money. And after the presentation, I thought that was clear enough. But just to make sure, I tested it. And I went up to a red-haired person and I asked him, do you know what I was doing the $500 in the presentation? No, Tim, I have no idea. We doubled our money. Once again, they weren't getting it. I thought, what in the world is going on? So I thought this time I'm going to be really, really clear. Because I have to give this presentation a lot to my next audience. I said, all right. The presentation, I said, we started with $500. We went to $1,000. We doubled our money. We had twice as much money. We had more money. We had 100% more money. We had a huge increase in money. I admit I started babbling about money a little bit because I wanted to get my point across. And afterwards, I went up to a brown-haired guy and I said, did you understand about the $500? He said, no, Tim, but you seem really fascinated with it in your presentation. He said, we doubled our money. I said, oh, that would have been good to know. What's going on here? So I did what usually you do these days. If you don't know what's going on in the world, you want to find out about it. I Googled it. And I found out that there's this guy called Darren LaCroix who talks about presentations. And he says that it's very important to have clarity in your presentation. That just means it's very important to be clear what you're talking about. And he said one way to get clarity is by using gestures. I thought, okay, well, I can try that. So next time I gave the presentation, I said, all right, we started with $500. Then we went to $1,000. We doubled our money. We had twice as much money. We had a 100% increase in what we had. And afterwards, I went to somebody, I don't even remember what color hair they had. And I said, did you get it about the $500? I said, yeah, Tim, you doubled your money, right? I said, yes, exactly. And after that, I started to think about gestures more and more. I thought, okay, if I want to explain how big something is or small thing is, I can, use gestures. This, an increase in growth, and bigger, and those sort of things. I can use gestures when I'm up here. That'll help communicate between me and the other person. But not only that, I can use my body. In fact, my body makes my point. Your body makes your point. Your body makes your point when you're gesturing. So, for instance, if I want to have 3 points, I can start here. stand here for one point, talking about it, stand here for a second point, and stand here for a third point, and my body makes my point. Your body makes your point when you gesture. 1 point, 2 points, 3 points. Your face can even be a gesture. Happy, sad, puzzled, angry. All of those things are gestures, and gestures helps you communicate with your audience, helps you understand things. I started using gestures, and all of a sudden, people started getting what I said the first time. They understood about increases, they understood about decreases, they understand when things were big, they understood when things were small. Everything just got a lot clearer to my audience. There's much more clarity. So if you're ever in a presentation, and you're concerned about clarity, about getting your point across the first time every time, you don't want to have to be afraid the audience just is not getting it, use a gesture. Use your body. And remember, your body makes your point.